Hello, Canatech Virtual Conference people. My name is Maxwell. I am with Across International. We do material processing laboratory equipment. You can see a little bit of it behind me. Pardon if you hear a little bit of back noise, as again, we're on site at the Across International headquarters in New Jersey. Not quite as glamorous as our location in Sparks, Reno, Nevada, but that being said, a lovely showroom nonetheless. And if you guys have any difficulty hearing me, then I can go into another area that's a little bit quieter. But I figured I'd try to give you guys as good a show as I could right before we get into our virtual presentation here. And firstly, on behalf of Across International and the Canatech Virtual Conference, I want to thank you all so much for coming and attending. And on behalf of Across International, I would like to express our appreciation to the Canatech Virtual Conference for putting on this lovely virtual event. We would love to be seeing you guys at the Ohio Kentucky show that we were scheduled to be attending. But that being said, we look forward to the rescheduled date for that event. And really quickly, before I get started into our presentation, I figured I would give you guys not only an opportunity to download some of the catalogs, videos, examples of awards Across International has been presented previously at other trade shows and events, and also the presentation itself as a PDF. But also, I wanted to show you a couple other events that you might be able to see us at if you plan on attending any in-person events, so that you can just plan to stop by our booth if you have an opportunity to. So, oh wow, that's fascinating. There you can see on the side the different documents you can download. Here we have the New Jersey NECAN conference we're going to be attending October 2nd and 3rd. There we have the Real Cannabis Entrepreneurs Conference we're going to be attending in Newark October 15th and 16th. And then we have MJ BizCon that everyone, I'm sure, looks forward to attending as much as they can in October. Without further ado, I don't know if we're waiting on any other folks to be joining the room, but they can watch the recording because when you snooze, you lose. So we'll get started here. And also, after the speaking session, I'll be jumping into one of the round tables. So if any of you guys want to discuss anything from the presentation or anything specific to your laboratory or extraction facility or your business, certainly happy to answer any questions you have there. And again, thank you so much all for attending. So, AI Vacuum is the botanical division of Across International. Across International, ourselves, were founded in the United States in about 2007, and we were doing international business before then. And then we established our Sparks Reno location in order to serve the West Coast, in addition to our New Jersey location, which is where I am located. And then we also have our Australia location right outside of Melbourne in Victoria. And so for decades, we've been an industry leader in heat treatment and material processing. And our company's mission is to empower customers by offering innovative and high quality laboratory equipment, along with the best customer service and support. So, that being said, we have 12-hour support in North America and South America, technically Central America, and distributors in all those places, every major continent except Antarctica. And so, if you ever have any questions or ways we can help, please feel free to reach out, and we'll always make sure that your curiosity as well as your experience with the laboratory equipment is a satisfying one. And so, AI Vacuum Across International and the US Canna Expos present Industry Essentials for Finished Product Processing and Development. And so I've given a couple other talks previous years at other expos. And if you're interested in those presentations, certainly feel free to contact me or contact our general email at quotes, QUOTES, at acrossinternational.com. And I can get you those presentations. Those go more into the basics of extraction. But now the industry is relatively mature. We've been seeing pretty major consolidations across the industry. And so we're going to go into kind of the advanced things that differentiate award-winning and very successful laboratories from kind of run-of-the-mill laboratories that might get acquired by those. So for those who are trying to up their game a bit or just kind of refine different products in their catalog, we'll go through each product group and kind of how they can give you advantages in the laboratory. So first we have jacketed glass and 316L pharma grade stainless steel reactors. So in general, I'm going to go into some reasons why you might want a reactor in your laboratory. Winterization is one very big reason that you would want to use a reactor. Freezing crude oil diluted in ethanol to solidify and filter plant fats and lipids, which are essentially dead weight and water weight, and if vaporized or burned would be carcinogenic in your reactor. And that'll be in ratios with ethanol into oil of about anywhere between 1 to 2 to more commonly I hear 1 to 10 ratios of crude oil to ethanol. I'm going to really quickly check the comments section and make sure all is well. I remember our wonderful staff. Oh, presentation looks good. That's wonderful, and everyone can hear me. That's good, even over the wonderful drills of laboratory equipment being worked on in the background. But that's the cost of doing business when you manufacture. There's a little bit of noise. But so that being said, continuing here as to why you would want a stainless steel or glass reactor. So winterization for filtering plant fats, lipids, or other solids. Decarboxylation is the reaction that removes a carboxyl group and then produces CO2 as a byproduct gas. And so usually decarboxylation refers to the reaction of carboxylic acids and removing a carbon atom from a carbon chain. Something that a lot of folks won't tell you that is going on with decarboxylation as well. That is important to know because it may encourage you to go above the temperatures and or times that are typically required for decarboxylation is devolatilization. And devolatilization is very simply the removal of volatiles. And so there are a lot of terpenes and volatiles like residual solvent, etc., that if left in the crude oil after it's decarboxylated in a reactor, which is generally twice as fast as a traditional oven, then there's nobody around here. I can take this off. So if there is a stopping of the decarboxylation right after it's decarboxylated and you don't continue to heat in order to get some of those higher boiling terpenes, you have to remove those terpenes if you plan on doing a fractional distillation in order to isolate your cannabinoids like THC, CBD, etc., to either produce a CBD isolate or a mediated CBD or THC. And so for that reason, we generally recommend a lot of customers do a little bit more than just decarboxylating, devolatilization as well, because that will assist as far as more quickly getting through what's called the first pass or the lights pass if they are going to be moving on to fractional distillation from there. And it can also remove some things that might be undesirable if they're making an edible or a beverage or a tincture, etc. These terpenes degraded and or not distilled out can sometimes be unpleasant to smell or smell, again, like degraded plants. So for that reason, it's good to devolatize and fractionally distill if you're going for that type of formulated product. CBD isolation is something that's very commonly done, particularly in our filter reactors, because our filter reactors will allow you to remove the bottom so that you can essentially take your cake of isolate out. And so what happens there is people will be polishing and winterizing their crude oil. And you don't need to do fractional distillation in order to do CBD isolation, but oftentimes people will, and it will be recommended because CBD isolation generally needs to be done supersaturating hydrophobic solvents that need to be mixed in a similar ratio. I've heard 1 to 3, 1 to 4, 1 to 5 ratios. It needs to be done in that type of ratio, whether it is crude or distillate. And if you're getting a particular percentage yield, depending on your efficiency of isolation in your reaction in your reactor, of a total percentage CBD, Obviously, you'll get a lot more CBD per isolation reaction out of 80 plus, 90 plus percentile CBD distillate than out of 60 percentile or even less CBD crude. And so, with that supersaturation, you're going to want to agitate your CBD isolate so it crashes out into actual solids and supersaturates from that interaction. And then there is when you're going to have the solid form at the bottom, and you'll drain your mother liquor. Typically, you'll still have some CBD and good stuff left in that mother liquor, and you'll add it to a later batch to try to reclaim as much of that CBD as possible. Washes and scrubs is another use for our reactors. It's very common. Some people also call this liquid to liquid extraction or L2L. And so people will do either a solid carbon scrubbing with something it's basically a food and pharma grade activated charcoal, similar to what you would see in a fish filter or another type of carbon or activated filter. And so that would remove chlorophyll and other potential contaminants. Citric acid is many times used for degumming, removing plant gums. Saline mixes can be used for pH balancing. People will do pesticide remediation. We have a blog on it on our aivacuum.com website. So that's the AI vacuum. It's supposedly across international. You'll see over there. That one has some blogs that are specific to the hemp and cannabis industry. And so if you guys are interested, either contact Quotes at Across International or myself, and we could send you that blog, or you just can go right onto our website. So again, I mentioned filter reactors before. Essentially, it can be used as a very large Buckner funnel with one of our vacuum carboys. I actually have one right here. I can show you guys. Let me turn off the sharing for a moment so you guys can see it a little bit larger. So you can use a vacuum carboy like this and essentially pull vacuum on an intermediary area between your reactor drain and your filter so that you can pull any liquids through while filtering through a filter paper. I don't recommend doing very very fine filtrations in the reactor unless there isn't very much particulate. Typically, you would do only like pretty coarse filtrations in the reactor because you don't want to put positive pressure on our glass reactors. Our stainless steel reactors can go under a mild positive pressure. They are PSI peer reviewed for C1D1 compliance with several solvents and can be pressurized up to 15 PSI while maintaining that peer review versus in general, we've tested the stainless steel reactors up to 70 PSI if you do not require that peer review, that third-party engineering peer review for compliance with your authority having jurisdiction or AHJ in your lab. So obviously, filter reactors are a little bit easier to clean because you can access the bottom without having to pop up the top. They're easier to collect your crystals or isolates since you can remove the filter plate. That filter plate is PTFE, or on our stainless steel reactors is 316L stainless steel, just like the rest of the wetted parts. And so they are chemical resistant and food and pharmaceutical grade. And here's a couple of those packages that we assemble for our customers based on customer requirements. This one is specifically assembled for decarboxylation in either a 50 or 100 liter reactor. Typically, you would only want to fill your reactor maybe 50%, and then from there kind of learn the expansion coefficient of your oils in order to see if you can fill a little bit more. But you have to account for the thermal expansion of the liquids in the reactor. And so to break down this package a bit, we would have a dynamic temperature control system, such as either the Unistot T305s, in order to heat the jackets of these reactors. Then a recirculating chiller, such as the Across International C30s for the condenser. Ideally, you'd have a cold trap for additional condensation capability and surface area to protect the vacuum pump, which allows you to lower the boiling temperatures and in general seal the reactor. We also have non-jacketed single-walled reactors with heated insulation jackets. They're not quite as uniform as the thermodynamic liquid jackets that are paired with either our Huber or Yalabo recirculators. However, it is wonderful if you, one, don't want to deal with plumbing all of that fluid to the jacket. Obviously, then you have to ensure that there's no potential for leaks, and you just in general have to maintain that dynamic temperature control fluid because it does eventually expire, heating and cooling so frequently. And in general, also, these are much lower cost. So they're good, for example, for decarboxylation, which doesn't require such high temperature uniformity. And for that reason, you can see that there's no Huber or Yalabo recirculator, just the chiller for the condenser, cold trap, and vacuum pump. That being said, these are not available C1D1 or C1D2, only standard electrical certified ETL for ULCSA. And then if you need CE, let us know. I'd have to double check if we got it for CE as well for the European markets, but typically we could do that pretty quickly if you require it. We have a great relationship with the NRTLs or nationally registered testing labs that we work with. Here are some of those winterization packages. See here, you don't necessarily need to be under vacuum. If you want to seal the reactor for safety or sterility purposes, we can always add a pump to one of these packages. But typically you would just need a dynamic temperature control system for recirculating fluid in the liquid jacket to get it cold so that you can drain either into a filter from there or have one of our filter reactors. All right, let's get into ethanol recovery. And again, feel free to put any questions in the public or private chat or go to one of the round tables after the presentation. Why would one want a rotary evaporator? So ethanol evaporation, or in general, any solvent, simple distillation, evaporation, and recovery for reuse, whether you're using that ethanol or solvent as a primary extraction solvent, because you can extract with ethanol or other solvents that are liquid at room temperature and pressure, or if you're doing a second solvent dewax or winterization in order to remove the fats and the lipids. And so the rotary evaporators can do any sort of simple distillation, which is defined as separation of either liquids and solids or two dissimilar liquids that have a difference in boiling point of greater than 50 degrees Celsius. So this is where you would get away volatile solvents from heavier base chemistries, such as oils. Cross International boasts some of the fastest evaporation and recondensation rates on the market, and that's because we have a triple coil design with our 20-liter rotary evaporators. We had a triple condenser design with our 50-liter rotary evaporators, but actually found that the surface area didn't really increase the evaporation rate with the amount of heating watts that we could do with the Rotovap, so we didn't really mainstream it. But that being said, our Rotovaps in general can boast some of the greatest evaporation and recondensation rates in the market, and that's thanks to the chilling rating and the vacuum rating as well as the heating rating that we overrate in our packages in order to get faster production rates. So we have a three-way bump trap / expansion vessel. That's what you'll see here between the condensers and the boiling flask. And that acts as a safeguard to prevent contamination of recovered solvent or in general recondensate, depending on whether that's your desirable or simply your solvent that you're recondensing. And so if you overboil in your boiling flask, then it would essentially provide a place to reflux before you would contaminate your solvents or your recondensates. And it also acts as an expansion chamber for spreading out the surface area for more effective cooling and recovery of your solvents. Our 20-liter and 50-liter rotary evaporators, our large production scale rotary evaporators, include dual receiving flasks standard in the package, and that allows you to alternate which flask that you are draining versus continuing to recondense your solvent or recondensate in, so that you can essentially continuously run the rotary evaporator without stopping evaporation in order to drain, unlike some competitors that don't offer that feature. That's on both our 20 and 50 liters, and then we also have the dual condensers on our 20-liter rotary evaporators. For a total of 3 condensers, they're dual main condensers, the 2 larger ones you see at the top. And again, that's for greater surface area, for greater recondensation capabilities, for overall faster production. turns in essentially more evaporation and more oil produced and more solvent recovered per work shift or per hour, so that you get more done per work day. So here's the standard packages of the 20 and the 50 liter rotary evaporators. We have the C -30 Celsius chiller from AI for the condensers, the 30 liter on the 20 liter rotary evaporator, and the 40 liter on the 50 liter rotary evaporator, and then we have a vacuum pump. And we also recommend that these be used with vacuum controllers. We have a wide variety of vacuum controllers, and they're optional, so we didn't include that in the standard image. Every rotary evaporator includes a mechanical vacuum gauge, but we have digital automated controllers that can control one or multiple rotary evaporators at a time from a single pump. So some really unique award-winning options that we can discuss either at the roundtables if you're interested. That'll save hardware for less vacuum pumps, maintenance, time, heat and noise generation in the lab, wattage and power consumption, and in general money and resources. So going green while also going friendly for your pocket. And generally, we would recommend that you only fill any of these boiling flasks 40 to 60%, and 20 and 50 liters are the full volume of that boiling flask. So you'd maybe have 8 to 12 liters at a given time in a 20 liter rotary evaporator, or 20 to 30 liters in a 50 liter. But that being said, you can also continuously fill our rotary evaporators with the feed tube for faster evaporation once you have it all filled, and then you would have to drain out the condensate. And we have peristaltic pumps for all that draining as well to make that easier and hands-free for safety as well. And then each rotary evaporator will also include a boil cap. Basically, it's a steam channel so that you can duct out the steam and or get it away from your operators that are using the rotary evaporator. So fractional distillation is particularly your friend in formulation because that's what's going to allow us to produce odorless, flavorless cannabinoids, THC, CBD, etc. And so thin film distillation is either a semi-continuous or a completely continuous method of fractional distillation. Here you'll see our TS6 6-inch stainless steel 316L food and pharma grade thin fractional distillation system. We can either get that with a wiped film with wipers or a rolling film with rollers, and those each have some different advantages and disadvantages. Again, I'm more than happy to discuss more in detail in the round tables, or if you meet us at one of the trade shows, or reach out at quotes@acrossinternational.com. And the reason that you would want a stainless steel system is not only is it indestructible, but you get a little bit of a better heat transfer coefficient, which is why on this design, you'll see that this has 2,500 centimeters squared, both heating surface area on the evaporator and chilling surface area on the cold finger condenser. That'll feed into those two gear pumps that will allow you to break from high vacuum to regular atmospheric pressure for either removing the distillate or residues or filling in more crude for absolutely continuous distillation on this unit. And then we have more surface area for making sure none of the volatiles harm our vacuum pumping system and nothing gets sticky down there, with a dual cold trap system on the AI thin films. So the glass model, which you can see on our website, does not include those gear pumps on the two discharges for the distillate and the residue. So that's a semi-continuous system versus this is a completely continuous system. But they're very large, 10-liter flasks, so it allows for long run times, while the feed funnel on both is a heated gear pump, which allows the crude oil to hit the evaporator much hotter, which in general will result in much faster distillation rates. And that funnel is a jacketed, heated vessel as well, so you can preheat all your crude before doing your fractional distillation, which results in between 3 and 8 liters per hour main body distillation rate with this 6-inch thin film. That's stainless steel, the TS6, and then between 2 and 5 liters with our glass, depending on your feeding material, is why there's such a big range there. These are engineered again for between 2 and 6. Again, we actually got better results from one of our recent clients' testimonials, so that's gone up to 2 to 8 liters fractional distillation on either of these units. And there's some of the measurements again for the heated evaporation area and the cold finger recondensation area. And on the glass unit, it is 4,000 centimeters squared because it is a coil. But that being said, they only have one cold trap. So that surface area for condensation and protecting your vacuum pump is always made up somewhere. And so these high throughput productions of distillate are often used as a precursor for making isolate, as we previously discussed, for making CBD isolation, or for also making some of these other novel cannabinoids that you'll see on the market. Like, for example, some that are currently in vogue that are kind of being experimented with and being produced in our reactors from distillate are D8 and D10. And in general, distillate of THC, CBD, or any cannabinoid allows for much easier dosing of edibles, beverages, which we have solutions for making water-soluble nanoemulsions to get more for your milligram. We'll discuss later in the presentation. Capsules, cartridges, and other finished formulated products. So here's our glass system. We have Agilent vacuum gauges and high vacuum diffusion pumps in order to provide precise and very high vacuum to prevent oxidization and degradation of any of your valuable cannabinoids and provide precise readouts throughout the process. And then our roughing pump that evacuates the chamber before our diffusion pump takes over for high vacuum is the Welch CRV Pro 30 from our partners at Welch Vacuum, which are chemical and corrosion resistant pumps. They also operate much cooler than a lot of other pumps, which in general is much safer for any evaporation of reactants and generating less heat in the lab, so less HVAC bill. AI Vacuum offers classes to teach technicians how to get better results with thin films or really any of our products. So just let us know if you'd like some sort of assistance with any of our cross international products. But on site, we could do distillation classes. And our distillation catalog also features partners such as Prescott Logic Technologies and Lab Society, both of whom also sell across international products. So it's a wonderful mutual relationship and two-way street. Both of these systems feature Huber heating and cooling systems. And in general, those Huber heating and cooling systems will have a 4-year warranty. So great warranty on the recirculators, which in general are the heart of the system. The vacuum certainly is important, and those don't come with the same 4-year warranty, but are easy to maintenance typically, and so won't necessarily be items that you're missing the maintenance warranty so much on. We also offer batch short path distillation systems, which offer desktop evaporation and recondensation of cannabinoids, again, for production of odorless and flavorless cannabinoids. A lot of people will have a short path, even if they have a thin film, just for doing their first heads distillation, as in general, a short path could be more forgiving. It's easier to replace a small boiling flask or a piece of glassware than if you had fats, lipids, or any other residuals. If you're bringing crude in from outside of your own lab and don't know as much what's in it, for example. And so for that reason, short paths can be valuable. And we use fuzzy logic PID controllers in our DigiM digital heating mantles for minimizing overshoot and idealizing the heating rates and learning over time. They're economical and efficient. They can go up to 300 Celsius, which is way more than you're going to want for short path distillation. Generally, cannabinoids will start to degrade at maybe around 225 degrees Celsius and can spin at a maximum of 2,000 RPM. We offer a wide variety of stir bars, which are more important than you'd think. And the valve adapter is for maintaining clean the receiving flask while you're distilling your heads or your volatiles if you didn't get them all out during your decarboxylation and devolatilization, and for switching flasks between fractions. Our newly redesigned 5-liter distillation head is designed to minimize heat loss, increase internal diameters for more efficient fractioning and condensation, with zero clogging and commonality, so interchangeability between our 2, 5, and 10-liter systems. So you can use the same head for all three. And we also have packable heads with Raschig rings, so you can customize your Vigoro and your fractioning capabilities. Here's some approximate distillation rates that we've recorded with our customers for each of these short path distillation systems. About 200 to 240 milliliters per hour with the 2-liter, and I think we've gotten a little more out of it. 400 to 800 mils per hour out of the 5-liter, and 800 mils to 2,000 mils or 2 liters with the 10-liter short path distillation system. And these are great for smaller scale benchtop production of distillate. This is a product we're very excited to announce the partnership of. This was a recent partnership we did the last year or two. I think it was during 2020 that we negotiated everything with what turned out to be a longtime customer who said, your Rotovaps and vacuum ovens work great. We use them for our own lab. And so we're more than happy to give you essentially what it turned into exclusive distribution of their products. We work with industrial sonomechanics in order to provide high amplitude sonication solutions in order to create water-soluble nanoemulsions and highly bioavailable nanoemulsions with CBD, THC, distillate, full-spectrum oils, isolate, really whatever oil that you would want to make water-soluble that usually wouldn't mix very well with water. And so they are the inventors of the patented barbell horn that makes scaling production of highly bioavailable nanoemulsions very easy. It can go from the 1 liter per hour range on the LSP 600 all the way up to the 25 liter per hour range, the highest recorded range, at least that we received from Industrial Sonomechanics when using their formulations and their pre-formulated nano stabilizer in order to create water-soluble nanoemulsions. And so they have multiple nanostabilizer formulations at this point. The LT is used for water-soluble nanoemulsions, and those will be less than 50 nanometers, so that will create water solubility for transparency up to 50 milligrams per milliliter. And you can concentrate it higher, but that's when you're going to start getting opaqueness or milkiness. And so these are proprietary all-in-one blends, the other one being the LSO, which is better for powderized formulations, but then you'd require a drying solution, which again, we can discuss a little bit more in the roundtables. But so these proprietary all-in-one blends of ingredients are necessary for ultrasonic nanoemulsification of hydrophobic bioactive extracts. For any of these oils, again, full spectrum oils, distillate, isolates, also for nutraceuticals, vitamins, essential oils, terpenes, etc. And these are comprised of food grade or GRAS certified carrier oils, emulsifiers, and preservatives, all tasteless and derived from natural sources. And for additional costs, there are organic formulations available as well. All of this comes with easy to follow SOP, standard operating procedures from Industrial Sonomechanics, and every system comes with a free hour-long consultation with the Industrial Sonomechanics engineers, which they also do at a $200 per hour rate, so it's a $200 value that comes with each one of these systems. Vacuum ovens. I put this near the end of our presentation in case anyone had to leave early, because we've been winning awards for our vacuum ovens for a very long time. They've been a bread and butter product for Across International forever. But just in case you're relatively new to the extraction industry, they're very commonly used for purging solvents and drying. So people will be removing hydrocarbon solvents like butane and propane. They'll be removing ethanol from crude full spectrum extracts. They will be drying CBD isolate of hydrocarbon solvents and or moisture. The hydrocarbon hydrophobic solvents that are often used for CBD isolation I've most commonly heard are pentane, hexane, and heptane. And our vacuum ovens are often used for decarboxylation as well, although it'll generally take twice as long as in a vacuum oven. And twice as long in a reactor as in a vacuum oven, and even longer in a forced air convection oven. So on our very big, beautiful X series big batch vacuum ovens that have fully removable shelves, we have plus or minus 7% uniformity, and we get even better uniformity on our smaller vacuum ovens. All of these ovens come with UL, CSA, and CE certification included for compliance worldwide. And we also have more economical Eco Series CE certified ovens available as well. The Accutem multi-zones are a very unique oven that's offered by Across International and frequently imitated but never mirrored as far as quality. And so those will be the ones that have multiple temperature controllers, like you see in the back there with our large AT160 16 cubic foot vacuum oven. And those shelves are non-removable. They can't be removed because they're wired with heating elements for heating your samples right there in the shelf and a thermocouple for detecting temperature. This allows you to operate under a much lower power consumption and amperage pull because you're heating a lot less surface area in the vacuum oven by only heating the racks versus heating from the walls and then heating from the racks, because in the vacuum you can't take advantage of convection and gas in order to transfer the temperature throughout the chamber. And so this is a disadvantage of vacuum ovens, but there's a lot of advantages as far as doing things at lower temperatures than you would be able to do under atmospheric conditions, and in general in a more sterile environment that doesn't have any atmospheric gases that'll degrade your material. And it's also safer because they're out of any ignition areas like in exposure of oxygen or any sparks. And so that being said, in the vacuum ovens and with vacuum, generally people don't put things that they want to heat on the walls. They do it on the shelves, and so it's much more temperature and power efficient to heat the shelves directly rather than the walls. And so these multi-zone vacuum ovens offer not only lower power consumption, but faster time to temperature due to focusing the heating where it counts. Multiple temperature zones also means that you can stratify variables if you want to test the same sample under the same atmospheric conditions in different temperature zones, or just do different things on different temperature chamber shelves. And these ovens are available in 3.2 cubic foot, 7.5 cubic foot, and 16 cubic foot. Also all ULCSA and CE certified. So these X models are relatively new, these very large chambers that are fully removable shelves. You can hold up to 14 shelves with about an inch of space or 2.5 centimeters of space between each in the 5 cubic foot AT50X, and then up to 18 shelves in the AT75X. The ovens will include half that number of racks, and then you can add 7 racks to make the full 14 to the 5 cubic foot, or 9 racks to make the full 18 to the 7.5 cubic foot X model. The Eco Series, again, are for those that do not require UL and CSA compliance and are on a bit of a budget, and they're based on the classic oven the industry was built on before authorities having jurisdiction started requiring UL and CSA certification about half a decade ago. So pairing vacuum ovens to pumps that come with UL CSA certification, our SuperVacs are 2-year warranted chemical and corrosion resistant rotary oil vane pumps. So they're a staple in the industry. If you want to go oil-free, which is lower maintenance and also in general more sterile for food pharma-grade products, we have the Edwards, NXDS, and XDS series scroll pumps, as well as the Agilent IDP series scroll pumps. And then we have a Welch explosion-proof pumps for those that require explosion-proof pumps. We also have a wide variety of cold traps for recondensing any volatiles that might evaporate from your material and gum up your pump. We have the T40UL, which uses 3 500 ml glass flasks. And those 3 flasks are nice because you can have 3 dip tubes essentially into your cold bath to provide a better delta between the hot temperature coming out of your oven and the negative 40 Celsius cold trap, because the gas that's going into a negative 40 Celsius cold trap isn't necessarily going into negative 40 Celsius, depending on the residence time and the pumping speed. So, and obviously the starting temperature from the chamber. And for that reason, we designed our larger capacity T40X and T80X cold traps, which are negative 40 and negative 80 Celsius, 316L stainless steel cold traps, which have 20 filtration plates that offer more surface area for greater residence time and greater recondensation capability in a food and pharma grade 316L chamber that allows you to actually drain mid-process as well. And we have a video on how to do that even out of a vacuum with our peristaltic pumps on our Instagram Across INTL. So I recommend everyone checking that out. And in case you need to switch out mid-process and or have cross-contamination concerns with your cold trap and prefer an insert that's stainless steel with KF25s, we carry those from our partners at Lab Society as well. Last but not least, I just wanted to, in general, go over some reasons that you might want to consider choosing Across International for your laboratory build-out. We have East and West Coast locations, so overall 12 hours sales, service, and support lines. Long hours with phone and support from trained engineers, and long shipping hours in case you need a part overnighted. Expertise in extraction from processing and packages from award-winning manufacturer. We've been in the industry for over 10 years, so we generally are coming into your laboratory to consult with a little bit of experience. UL, CSA, CE, and GMP compliance certification is systematically making its way across the board. So if this is a requirement in your lab, just let us know. We'll ensure that you meet compliance. Units, spare parts, and even non-Across International products and spare parts in our catalog are almost always in stock so that we could ship that out of our New Jersey or Nevada locations. And in general, we like to say that we're the best price for the quality on the market. There are better priced options. There are options that are a little higher cost and, they might have some fancier features, but generally as far as computer capability, etc., we try to be accommodating. So let us know if there's anything that's particularly important to your lab, and we'll make sure that we offer you the most advanced option that we have as far as our laboratory equipment. And in general, thank you so much again for all of your time and for coming to the Canatech virtual conference. We hope to see you at one of those trade shows that I referenced a little bit earlier. We'll be at the roundtables for questions and feedback. And again, appreciate immensely each one of you for attending the virtual conference today and for choosing Across International in your laboratory. Should that be an opportunity, we're more than happy to help you as far as specifying a whole vertically integrated lab, partnering if you're a distributor of other types of products that help the industry, or just getting the right solution in your lab if you're already up and running. So thank you so much and have a wonderful day. It's been a great opportunity, and feel free to download. Don't forget the handouts. Thanks again, everyone. Oh, and again, we have a lot more people than when we started the event, so I'll really quickly share some of the other events that we're going to be attending, just in case any of you want us to see us at any in-person events. And again, I just want to reiterate, quotes at acrossinternational.com would be the best place to contact us if you'd like any more literature than what you could download in the handouts in our virtual seminar screen here. And also, if you have any questions, would like to get a quote for any material processing, laboratory equipment, or any other ways we can help. So we're going to be going to MJ BizCon. That's going to be October 19th through 22nd in Las Vegas. The soonest trade show that we're going to be going to is the New Jersey NECAN, or New England Cannabis Conference, October 2nd and 3rd. We're also going to be going to the October 15th and 16th Real Cannabis Entrepreneurs Conference. And we also very much look forward to the rescheduling of the Ohio, Kentucky Cannabis and Hemp Expo, which is the reason that we're presenting to you at this virtual conference. Here's our website in case anyone was interested in checking out our website. And also, if you want to check out that blog I mentioned on pesticide and herbicide remediation, or in general blogs specifically marketed towards the hemp and cannabis market, you can go to our hemp and cannabis specific website, aivacuum.com. There we have blogs, a forum on how to become a distributor, and a little bit more hemp and cannabis specific products. But again, thank you so much for the opportunity to serve each one of you. You can feel free to go to the Contact Us page in order to contact us if you would like any more information about our products, or if you have any questions that I didn't get answered here. I'll be going to the roundtables. Hopefully I'll be able to figure it out as soon as we get out of this virtual room. And again, thank you so much for the opportunity to present. Hope you all have a wonderful day and enjoy the remainder of your seminars at the Canatech Virtual Conference, and hope to see you guys at the different trade shows and or the Ohio Kentucky Expo. If you'd like to connect with me personally via Instagram, you may do so at my personal URL. I'm sorry, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever. I have both, but so my personal Instagram is linkedin.com/Maxwell Puebla Dubin, and Instagram is acrossinternational.com. And then last but not least, we have my Instagram, AI, Eyes, Ears, and Art, all separated by underscores, and our Across INTL Instagram. So look forward to chatting with you guys there. We're also AI Vacuum on Facebook. I'll spare you going to that link and see you guys at the roundtables. Thank you so much again for the opportunity to present. Hope to see you guys at those roundtables or one of those trade shows, or to see a message from you in our inbox, and hope you have a great day. And also, if you're ever in New Jersey, we're in Livingston, or in Nevada, we're in Sparks, Reno, the biggest little city. So feel free to stop on by. We're more than happy to host you for on-site visits as well. Thank you so much again, and hope you have a great day.